Make no mistake, we're experiencing a critical imbalance in the job market right now. Employers are demanding more work, higher productivity, and greater efficiency, yet employees are left feeling exploited and undercompensated. Consider this troubling pattern. Workers who once relied on 40 to 45-hour workweeks have seen their hours systematically reduced to just 30 to 35 hours, with further cuts of 1 to 2 hours occurring week after week. The consequences are unavoidable. When employees earn less, they simply cannot maintain their standard of living. This isn't just a workplace issue, it's an economic crisis affecting real people's ability to survive. When your salary can't keep pace with skyrocketing living costs, financial survival becomes increasingly difficult. That's the harsh reality workers face today. Simultaneously, employers are grappling with their own inflation challenges, forcing difficult decisions about cutting expenses to stay afloat. This economic pressure cooker is creating an unavoidable collision course between employee needs and business sustainability, with neither side able to easily back down. Make no mistake, the unprecedented employee advantage we've experienced is beginning to wane. For years, businesses flush with capital competed fiercely for talent, creating a labor market where workers dictated terms. Remote work flexibility, higher compensation, enhanced benefits. Employees commanded these perks because employers desperately needed workers more than workers needed jobs. This remarkable leverage allowed the workforce to secure conditions previously unimaginable. However, we must recognize the critical reality now unfolding. This extraordinary period of employee dominance is showing clear signs of reversal. But perhaps the most startling indicator of this turning point is the wave of layoffs sweeping across the globe. In the tech sector alone, over 200,000 jobs have been cut this year. Giants like Google, Meta, and Microsoft have trimmed their workforce, cited economic uncertainty and overhiring during the pandemic. Take the story of Sarah Burns, an employee at Salesforce. In early 2023, she was part of one of the company's sweeping layoffs, which impacted 10% of its workforce. For years, she had believed her job was secure. And now, she finds herself competing against hundreds of other laid-off tech workers for fewer positions, and at companies offering less pay and fewer benefits. Sarah's story isn't unique. Across industries, workers are realizing that loyalty is no longer enough. Reskilling is the word of the moment, whether that means coding boot camps, certifications in cybersecurity, or mastering business analytics. LinkedIn's newest data shows a dramatic spike in people listing certifications on their profiles as they race to stand out. Still, it would be a mistake to think workers are helpless in this equation. If anything, they're becoming more demanding. After years of juggling burnout, pay inequity, and the existential weight of uncertainty, employees are seeking out companies that offer more than just a paycheck. They want transparency. They want diversity. They want wellness programs and meaningful work. Take a case from January. Workers at a game development studio, Activision Blizzard, staged a protest against poor working conditions and insufficient pay. Ultimately, management agreed to increase wages and revise benefits packages. Workers, despite the chaos, are pushing back on toxic cultures. They're asking for better protections in the gig economy and pushing for unionization. Just look at the wave of tech workers unionizing across Silicon Valley, a move once considered unthinkable in the fast-paced startup world. Workers are finally realizing that in a world where companies treat them as disposable, collective action might be their best chance at getting favorable treatment. Picture this: you're scrolling through job boards, anxiously trying to identify a position that matches your skill set, while every news headline screams about mass layoffs, AI replacing jobs, and a turbulent economy. Suddenly, you're struck by the chaos of it all. The global job market isn't just shifting, it's undergoing a seismic transformation. A turning point that could redefine how we work, who gets hired, and what skills are considered valuable. You might ask, why now? What's happening? Artificial intelligence is no longer just a buzzword, it's a reality shaping industries faster than anyone expected. From retail to healthcare, software development to marketing, AI is automating jobs that were once thought to be untouchable. Just take the case of IBM earlier this year. The company announced that it plans to pause hiring for roles that could be automated by AI. That's not just a small tweak in strategy, that's a bold declaration of how much faith they have in this technology. And IBM is far from alone. Companies worldwide are acknowledging the potential of AI tools like ChatGPT and other large language models. In fact, LinkedIn recently added prompt engineer to its list of top emerging jobs. Imagine that, a skill set that didn't exist 5 years ago is now one of the most sought after in the market. This is making workers question their future. Should they focus on learning how to work alongside AI or prepare to compete against it? Take the story of Michelle Gomez, a paralegal in Texas. When her firm adopted AI-driven legal research tools, she was initially thrilled at how much faster she could pull case precedents. But within months, Gomez realized the firm was cutting down their hiring of junior paralegals. Her role, once seen as indispensable, now seemed precariously close to redundancy. Let's rewind to the pandemic years. The world shifted overnight. Offices emptied, remote work became the norm, and traditional jobs were thrown into disarray. It was chaotic, yes, but it also opened the door to new possibilities. Many workers, especially in tech, got a taste of flexibility and autonomy. Some began freelancing, running their own businesses, or even switching careers altogether. By the end of 2021, millions had quit their jobs. You may know this movement as the Great Resignation. But here's the twist: today, many of those same workers are returning to the job hunt. Why? Economic uncertainty. Inflation and rising interest rates mean those side hustles aren't cutting it anymore. Suddenly, stability seems more attractive than freedom. Real-life example? Take James, a former senior programmer at a pharmaceutical firm. After quitting to start his own software business in 2021, he thrived for 2 years, until rising costs obliterated his margins. Now, he's back in the corporate world, reluctantly applying for jobs in the same sector he once vowed never to return to. But it's not just the workers struggling to adapt, the employers are, too. Many companies are looking to bring employees back to the office after years of remote work. Amazon recently faced backlash when it decided to mandate office attendance for its staff. Hundreds of employees staged walkouts, frustrated that a piece of their hard-won flexibility was being taken away. What does this tell us? That the pandemic fundamentally altered what workers value in their jobs, and that companies are learning the hard way that you can simply revert to the old normal. Businesses are trapped in an inflation vice. Every expense has increased dramatically, especially labor costs, with salaries skyrocketing compared to just 3 years ago. This creates an unsustainable equation: rising costs without proportional revenue growth. Companies are now forced to aggressively pursue revenue expansion precisely when consumer spending is contracting in our slowing economy. This timing couldn't be worse, and it explains the mounting pressure businesses currently face. Without addressing this fundamental mismatch, companies will continue struggling to maintain profitability. Let's face it, the workforce has changed forever. Many employees insist they're far more productive at home, eliminating wasteful commutes and increasing output. Employers must now make strategic decisions based on what genuinely maximizes productivity, efficiency, and their bottom line. The financial implications are significant. Fewer in-office workers mean dramatically reduced real estate costs and office expenses. This isn't just about preference, it's about smart business. While you're cutting back on utility bills, companies betting on in-office productivity boosts are watching their facility expenses climb. The hope? That bustling offices will drive enough extra revenue and profits to make it worthwhile. But here's the rub: employees are pushing back, saying, my paycheck simply isn't keeping up with skyrocketing living costs, so why should I stick around? This fundamental economic dilemma demands our attention. Employers simply cannot sustain higher wages during periods of slowing growth. While exceptions exist, the undeniable reality is that we're experiencing a nationwide economic deceleration. Consider the inevitable mathematics: when growth slows, but wage demands increase, profits inevitably compress, while expenses potentially spiral upward. This unsustainable equation threatens both business viability and, ultimately, the very jobs workers are trying to improve. You can see the puzzle forming. Companies face a wage productivity squeeze. Employees want more money, but revenue isn't keeping pace. This productivity conundrum is reshaping our economy right before our eyes. The real intrigue lies in understanding what's propelling this transformation and where it'll take us over the coming year. Are we at an economic inflection point? So, where does all this leave us? The job market is teetering on the edge of transformation. Will AI create more jobs than it destroys? Probably not in the short term, but it may force companies to redefine job descriptions. Will we see more flexible or hybrid work arrangements? Workers are going to demand it, whether companies like Amazon or Disney resist. And what about layoffs? As businesses continue to tighten their belts, job seekers will need to rethink how they present their skills. But here's the catch: change isn't all bad. Every turning point in history presents a mix of challenges and opportunities. Those who embrace flexibility, stay curious, and invest in continuous learning may thrive in this new landscape. And those who champion worker rights may help shift the tide in favor of fair pay and treatment. The world of work is evolving rapidly. Maybe you're watching, wondering when it'll be your turn to face these disruptions. Or maybe you're already living the reality of this turbulence. One thing is clear: this is no ordinary transition. It's a turning point. So, the next time you see yet another headline about layoffs, automation, or protests, don't just skim past it. Pay attention. Because the decisions we make now, as workers and as companies, will ripple into the future for generations to come. This domino effect would mean fewer openings and a greater oversupply of candidates in certain sectors. Job seekers and workers alike need to be prepared to pivot quickly if the winds change. Meanwhile, generational shifts are also playing a major role in this turning point. Millennials and Gen Z are now the dominant forces in the workplace, and they bring entirely new priorities to the table. Unlike older generations, many prioritize flexibility, work-life balance, and well-being over traditional markers of career success, like salary and promotions. At the same time, they are more likely to demand action from their employers on major societal issues such as climate change, diversity, and equity. These demands are already causing ripple effects in hiring processes and workplace culture. Over the next year, the companies that fail to adapt may alienate future talent entirely. And then, there's globalization 2.0, an interconnected world that's changing the job market before our very eyes. Geopolitical tensions and supply chain realignments are pushing many companies to reshore their operations, to bring jobs back from overseas to their home countries. For countries seeing an influx of these jobs, unique opportunities could emerge while others face talent gaps, prompting governments and private sectors to invest in massive reskilling initiatives. This isn't just a theoretical idea, it's a transformation that's underway right now. But that also means workers need to prepare themselves for a global race, not only to secure a job, but to possess skills that are competitive worldwide. It all sounds like a lot to absorb, and it is, but it's not all bad news. Change brings opportunity. Keeping your eyes and ears open isn't just about protecting yourself from sudden shifts. It's about spotting growth areas before they explode and positioning yourself where employers are looking next. For example, cybersecurity jobs are booming, largely driven by technology advances and risks of cyber attacks. Sustainability roles are growing rapidly as more companies make commitments to reduce their carbon footprint. Healthcare continues to expand, particularly in roles supporting the aging population. And then there's the gig economy. Millions of people are embracing freelancing and contract-based roles as both a temporary and permanent career model. The good news in all this? The tools to adapt and empower yourself are within reach. Take time in the next 12 months to evaluate your skill sets. Are they future-proof? Are you leveraging digital platforms for continuous learning? Platforms like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and Khan Academy allow you to gain certifications and knowledge that align with where the market is heading. Networking, both online and offline, has never been more crucial. Reach out to industry professionals, join local meetups, or participate in webinars to stay updated on trends in your field. And perhaps most importantly, keep your mindset flexible. Without adaptability, even the most skilled professionals can find themselves stuck. Change can be intimidating, but it's also inevitable, and it's better to plan ahead than to be caught off guard. In the end, the next 12 months could mark a defining chapter in the story of the modern job market. Automation, remote work, economic uncertainty, new generational values, and globalization will collide to reshape how we work, who we work for, and how we think about our careers. By keeping your eyes and ears firmly open, you won't just survive this turning point, you'll thrive in it, positioning yourself for opportunities most people won't even see coming. The question is not whether the job market will change. It's already changing. The real question is, will you change with it? Thanks for watching. Until next time.